When I married Andrew, I knew he brought the whole package. His habits, his stories, and Teddy. A golden Labrador, full of energy, with eyes that sparkled with joy. Teddy had been with Andrew for a long time, long before I came into their lives. It was impossible not to notice how close the two of them were. When Andrew came home, Teddy would get so excited that he would wag his tail so hard it looked like it was going to take off. I thought it was cute, but deep down, I felt a little insecure. How could I compete with such an old and special friendship? At first, Teddy was polite to me. He didn't ignore me, but he didn't make any effort to get close either. It was like he was studying me, like he was saying, "Okay, she's here, but let's see if she's trustworthy." He would follow me around the house, but always keeping his distance, as if to say, "You're nice, but you'll never be like Andrew." It was almost funny, like he had decided that I was just a guest who would stay for a long time. Still, I couldn't help but be upset. He had been Andrew's faithful companion for years, and I respected that. The truth is, I had never spent much time with animals, and I didn't know where to start to connect with Teddy. Every time I tried, he seemed to look at me with that, "Oh, she still doesn't get it" look. I felt more like a roommate than someone special to him. But then, on a day that seemed like any other, everything changed. And that's when it all began. It was a very quiet morning. Andrew had already left for work early, as he always did, and the sound of his car disappeared down the street. Still a little lazy, I went to the bedroom to make the bed. As I adjusted the sheets, I felt like I was being watched. When I turned around, there was Teddy, standing in the doorway, with that intense look that only dogs can have. Before I could say anything, he entered the room. Teddy came slowly, as if he was testing the limits. And then, to my surprise, he climbed into bed without ceremony, with the utmost ease. He lay down exactly where Andrew slept every night, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. He let out a long sigh, the way only dogs do when they are completely relaxed, and looked at me with eyes so sincere that it seemed like he wanted to say something. At that moment, it seemed like he was telling me, "Now I am the one who will take care of you." I stood there, still, not knowing exactly what to do. I sat down next to him and with a little hesitation put my hand on his head. To my surprise, he nuzzled me in a gesture so simple and full of affection that it seemed to say everything I needed to hear. "You are not alone." I couldn't help but smile. That small gesture brought me a sense of comfort that I didn't even know I needed. I spent a few minutes petting him, listening to his calm breathing, and something inside me changed. From that day on, Teddy began to repeat this ritual every morning. As soon as the sound of Andrew's car faded, he would come to the bedroom, watch me make the bed, and punctually, slowly climb up to lie down in Andrew's place. It was like the most anticipated moment of the day for him, and over time, it became for me, too. At first, it took me by surprise, but then I began to expect him. When the house got too quiet, Teddy filled that void in a unique way. He didn't demand anything. He was just there, and that, in itself, was all I needed. Little by little, he stopped being Andrew's dog and became my companion, a faithful and silent friend who knew better than anyone when I needed support. On difficult days, it seemed like he understood before I even showed it. Without needing an invitation, he would climb onto the bed, nuzzle my hand, or curl up next to me. And in that simple gesture, it seemed to say, "I'm here. Everything's going to be okay." The connection we built didn't need words. Teddy understood my emotions in a way that not even I could explain, something few humans could do. What started as a simple routine became essential in my life. Teddy was much more than a dog who shared the house with me. He was my safe haven on quiet days, my strength in difficult times, and a constant reminder that love can come in simple and unexpected ways. But there was one afternoon when all of this became even clearer. I was feeling especially sensitive that day, carrying an emotional weight that seemed unbearable. As soon as Andrew left for work, I broke down. I sat on the bed, trying to organize my thoughts, but the feeling of being overwhelmed me. That's when Teddy came into the room. He didn't come excitedly, as usual, but with slow steps, as if he knew I needed to calm down. That moment felt different, almost magical. He didn't stop at the door or lie down in the corner of the room, as he had done before. This time, Teddy approached slowly and put his head on my lap. His big, sincere eyes met mine, and in that moment, I felt like he knew exactly what I was going through. Without thinking, I sank my fingers into his soft fur while the tears began to flow. Teddy stood there without moving, just offering me his presence. He didn't need words or movements. He was just there. And that was all I needed. At that moment, I realized something that changed my view of him. Teddy wasn't just a dog. He was my confidant, my silent guardian, someone who understood me without needing explanations. He knew when I needed support and was always willing to offer me the best he had, his loyalty and unconditional love. After that, our routine became even more special. Every morning when Andrew left, Teddy would come into the room, climb into bed with the same calm as always, and settle in next to me. That was our moment, a haven of peace in the midst of chaos. Sometimes I would talk to him, tell him my fears, my frustrations, and he would listen to me attentively, the way only he knew how. This connection was something I had never imagined possible. Teddy became my solace, my faithful friend, and the reason why the difficult days seemed less heavy. Andrew never questioned our new dynamic. He would even joke, saying that Teddy had finally fallen for my charm. But I knew it was much more than that. Teddy was not just Andrew's dog. He had found his own role in our relationship, a role that neither of us could replace. And then, on a seemingly ordinary morning, something happened that would change everything. I was in the kitchen making my coffee, and Teddy, as always, was by my side, attentive to every move. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Teddy stood alert, but didn't bark. He just watched as I walked to the door. When I opened it, Andrew was there, holding something small in his arms. My heart raced. "What's that?" I asked, confused and curious. Andrew smiled, leaned forward slightly, and revealed a black Labrador puppy. His eyes were bright with curiosity, and his little wet nose seemed to be exploring the world for the first time. My heart swelled with excitement. This was the perfect continuation of the story we had been building with Teddy, a new chapter that promised to be just as special as the first. "I thought Teddy needed a companion when we weren't around," Andrew said with a twinkle in his eye that revealed his true intentions. I was speechless, but Teddy, as always, seemed to understand right away. He approached the puppy carefully, sniffed him curiously, and within seconds his tail was wagging so excitedly that it seemed like he was dancing with joy. It was an unexpected moment that brought a new and contagious energy to our home. We decided to name the puppy Ben. He was full of energy, curious about everything, and a little clumsy, as only puppies can be. And to my surprise, Teddy took on the role of mentor. He cared for Ben with a patience and affection that touched me deeply. Seeing the two of them together, running around the yard, playing as if the world were theirs, or lying side by side after a day full of adventures, made me realize something. Teddy's presence not only transformed my life, but also created space for even more love. The days that followed were magical. Ben, eager to explore, learned from Teddy at every step. Meanwhile, I felt our home complete in a way I never imagined possible. Teddy remained faithful to our morning ritual, but now Ben was part of it too. Every time the sound of Andrew's car disappeared down the street, the two of them climbed into bed together, as if that moment had always been planned for them. Over time, I have come to understand that Teddy was not just the dog who helped me through the hard times. He was the invisible link that connected our family. Teddy showed me that love doesn't need words or grand gestures. It is found in the small moments, in the silence shared, in the loyalty that demands nothing in return. And now, with Ben, this has become even more evident. Teddy not only taught me the importance of unconditional love, but he also showed me how to make room for that love to grow and multiply. Today, when I look at Teddy and Ben, I see much more than two dogs. They are companions, teachers, and guardians. They teach me every day that the greatest lessons in life are found in the simple things, in a look, in a touch, in the constant presence of someone who cares. Every night when Andrew comes home, we are greeted by two tails wagging in sync and an energy that warms our home. Teddy remains my faithful friend, my confidant, but Ben has brought a new joy, a lightness that I didn't know I needed. Together, they are living proof that love can always grow. We just have to be willing to make room for it. And so we continue, day after day, our family full of love and gratitude. Teddy, Ben, Andrew, and I. Each with their own unique role, but all connected by something that doesn't need words to be understood. Because in the end, what really matters is the love we build together in each shared moment.